see the resumption of trade on DJT there, now up some 34%. Jim, in terms of us...
Wow, I mean, look at this, will you?
What's that?
No, the DJT, I mean, if I were Donald Trump, now it's 8 million shares. This is the moment where you say that you have an obligation to release more shares. And I've got shares that I'd like to release.
Yep.
And the board can do that. The board can say no, but the board, I think, I'm not sure where Mr. Trump's head is, but this is a moment where he could very easily say, look, the stock's up 286%. No one would mind if I sold stock, so please let me do it. Now, he may say, I don't need to. The people who are buying it, I think it's almost like it's a keepsake. That the people who want to support Donald Trump know that as this goes higher, he's able to raise more money. Of course, the amount that he owes was cut back yesterday that he has to put up. Yep. So I think this is surprising a lot of people, but I do think that this is something that the higher it goes, the more likely Donald Trump can go to the board and say, listen, guys, you know what? The market wants it. Let's unlock it so I can sell. Now, the board is, some people say it's a captive board, but his son's on the board.
Sure.
But that's what if I were President Trump, which, by the way, I am most certainly not.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Yes. If I were king of the forest, I would go in and say to the board, people want stock. Let's unlock this. And that's what I would do if I were on the board. I would unlock it. But I don't know. I think that no one would begrudge him if he went to the board and say, look, I'd like to have some stock released.
Truth Social has officially started trading. I'm looking at a gain of 57%. Wow. Tell me more, please, Lauren.
I mean, this is pretty extraordinary, considering Trump owns 60% of the company. Yeah. So the question we've been asking, is it hype? Part of it. I mean, it's estimated to have 5 million subscribers. That's it. You got 2 billion at TikTok. You got X or Twitter, more than that, 3 billion at Facebook. But it is very buzzy because Trump is running for president, and the merger and this subsequent stock gain could help him pay his legal bills. And a lot of people want to see him win.
And with the move, Trump enters the list of the world's 500 richest people with a net worth of $6.5 billion.
Well, it appears that the market has spoken. Actually, it appears that the people have spoken, and they have spoken with their own dollars. Full disclosure, I am an investor in DJT. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's continue. The libnuts are out there saying it's a scam. They say people, even people like me, are stupid for buying it. But it's their money. It's my money. I can do anything I want with it. I can open up my wallet and set the dollars on fire. It doesn't really matter what you guys think in the media. If somebody wants to buy DJT, it's up to them. Today, the novelty of the DJT stock caused it to surge. It's been up over 50% all day long. And as Jim Cramer from CNBC said, a lot of people probably bought the stock because they wanted to support Donald Trump. And if they make some money in the process, all the better. I bet a lot of people bought the stock as their way of giving the middle finger to Judge Ergonon, Fani Willis, Letitia James, Jack Smith, and you, Joe Biden. It's ironic how just last week they thought they had him. They thought they had him good, that they were going to bankrupt him. And instead, he's had arguably one of his best financial weeks ever, possibly doubling or tripling his net worth. And they caused it. I'm going to show you after I check out this article on the Daily Mail. This is a pretty incredible article on the Daily Mail. It starts off by saying Trump's net worth surges to $6.4 billion to make him one of the world's 500 richest people for the first time after he completed his social media company's lucrative merger. Trump said Monday, as you heard in my video yesterday, I got a lot of cash. He certainly does. Donald Trump's net worth is shooting up even as he's forced to assemble piles of cash to pay court judgments. Now, he's climbing onto at least one coveted billionaire's list. The former president's net worth has climbed to $6.4 billion following last week's announcement that Digital World Acquisition shareholders voted the special purpose acquisition company to merge with Trump firm that owns his Truth Social platform. After a jump in its stock price, Trump's net worth jumped by an astonishing $4 billion, which comes on top of his already existing holdings in terms of his golf properties, his real estate empire, and his branding. $6 billion as of right now, which may fluctuate. Obviously, the timing couldn't have been better for Trump. He says he has almost $500 million in cash and has 10 days to come up with $175 million after a New York appellate court slashed a $454 million judgment down to just $175. The article continues, even that lesser amount could be a pinch. Trump recently posted bond for $91 million in that E. Jean Carroll defamation BS case, and he must pay both amounts pending his appeals of the verdicts against him. Trump already has an empire that includes golf properties in Florida, Scotland, plus buildings including Trump Tower, 40 Wall Street, where Trump on Monday held a wild press conference where he said he would use cash, securities, or bond to pay the $175 million amount. That was before today. Even with that, Bloomberg added Trump to its list of 500 richest people in the world. The main driver was the stock price of the merged company, which will be publicly traded on NASDAQ, which began today. As of the time of this article, the shares in DWAC were trading at nearly $50 a share on Monday, a jump of 190% since the year began, which put Trump's 58% stake at about $3.9 billion. So why is that important? Notice the number they said. It was $50 a share yesterday. $50. I'll be back to that in a second. Unless he gets a waiver from the board stacked with Trump loyalists, Trump would be prohibited from selling his shares until the end of a 6-month period, so he can't rely on the funds to pay his court judgment. That's not exactly true. So it's partly true. What they just said was he can't sell his stock for 6 months. Absolutely true. The second part is what everybody in the media is missing. All he needs to do is get approval from the shareholders. And I mean, the board of the shareholders. You know who sits on the board? His family. So if he wants to liquidate some shares, he's gonna liquidate some shares. And at that point, if he sold $1 billion worth of shares, probably doesn't need to sell that much. I wonder if he could go over to Letitia James and goes, here's $175 million in pennies. Eat shit. Love to see it. I would love to see it. But anyway, let's go back to the article. Trump has long vied to get on and stay on the Forbes 400 list, and his New York fraud trial featured testimony that he somehow inflated the valuations of his properties to get preferential treatment. Forbes on Monday put Trump's net worth at $2.6 billion, relying on a September 2023 estimate of his social media and branding business at $160. Talking some huge numbers no matter what you say. And people saying he's, Don Corleone. You guys are nuts. I have a lot of cash, Trump told reporters Monday. You know I do because you've looked at my statement, as well as the judge did. Trump posted last week that he had $500 million in cash, although his letters said in a recent filing blasting the court judgment that he was unable to post the bond. Now understand what he was saying there. He has $500 million in cash. He's also running for president. There's no accident that they wanted to take all his cash away from him so that he could no longer afford to run for president. He was never poor. He was never cash strapped. He just had an opportunity to run for president, and I've got a big stronghold of cash here that I'm going to use to beat the hell out of Joe Biden. And the court said, let's just take his money away from him so that he can't run for president. Surprise! He found a way to beat your ass again. And I just wanted to show you that about 3 o'clock as I'm filming this video on Tuesday the 26th, the shares are at $71 per share. 71.04 may drop a little bit. It constantly moves until 4:30. But in any event, as of right now, you can see it's up 42%. Up 42%. The guy's made billions. Absolute crushed it today. And I find the funniest thing about this is that all of the libnuts that are complaining, all of the media that are complaining that Donald Trump is raising money by selling stock, you enabled it. It's your fault. He should just say thank you to all of you. You know why? Because when you banned him off of Twitter and you banned him off of Facebook and you thought you had him beat and he wouldn't be able to do anything, he wouldn't be able to talk anymore. Okay, so he created his own social network. And then y'all laughed at that. Oh, it's terrible. It's a piece of crap. Nobody goes there except you, because every time that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, you amplified his message by putting it up on television. Every single time he would say something controversial, I would see it on television. It doesn't matter if it was CNN, Fox, MSNBC, NBC, it was on television and it was on your website. You cheered when he was kicked off of Facebook. You cheered when he was kicked off of Twitter. You cheered when his supporters were kicked off along with him. You thought it was funny. It was a great idea. But now he created his own social media platform, and his supporters, and also people who are, seizing on an opportunity, are funding his comeback. So in essence, you helped him build or rebuild his empire. He should just say thank you to you. I want you to think about this. The Marxist-loving, socialist-embracing nutjobs provided an American businessman the ability to succeed using the one weird trick that they hate: capitalism. Donald Trump just showed you the American way. They are underscoring everything that Donald Trump has said the entire time he was president, the entire time before he launched his campaign, and the entire time that he's been rebuilding his campaign to run for president again. He is showing absolute strength through adversity, and he's using capitalism to do it. And it's pissing them off bigly. Let's go to cut 2. I got to show you something.
Calling former president broke Don.
So the Biden-Harris campaign came out and actually called Donald Trump broke Don. You may have jumped to conclusions, but I'll let Harris continue here.
Now it appears the joke may be on Joe Biden. Former President Trump's net worth just skyrocketed after Truth Social began trading on the NASDAQ. Trump has joined the list of the world's 500 richest people. But of course, the liberal media already have a problem with Trump making money off Truth Social stock market debut. They're calling the whole thing a scam. Watch.
It's like a pump.
Of course they are. And of course, the leader of it all would be Joy Reid.
Dump. If you go and buy the stock.
She called it a pump and dump. I'll talk to you about that in a second.
Let's say from him. You're actually buying from him. And it goes down. If you sell it, you will have a tax loss. You could actually turn what could have been a political contribution into a taxable, a tax loss.
So wouldn't that be the same with any stock you buy? Let's say today I wanted to buy some IBM, and if the stock went down and I lost money, what's the difference? Why are you sitting there laughing at people who think that A, they want to support Donald Trump, and B, they might make a few bucks, with the DJT stock?
I think that the value is essentially worthless. If they went to market and tried to sell $3 billion, the value of the stock would go to zero practically immediately.
Number one, nobody's going to sell $3 billion worth of shares. That ain't going to happen. He doesn't need to. I don't think anyone has discussed him having to sell $3 billion worth of stock. These people are absolutely nuts. They're making things up to try and put themselves in a position where they look smart on camera when they're actually really stupid. He only owes, or I won't even say he's only required to post a bond of $175 million. If he's worth $6 billion and he gets a waiver from the board, he could easily sell $175 million worth of stock and still not put a dent into the company. I don't even know how this guy could have gotten on television and said something so stupid. $3 billion worth of stock? Who in the hell would do that? Not even Jeff Bezos would probably sell that much stock at one time. These people are nuts, absolutely nuts. I can't believe they get gigs on television. And Joy Reid, who talks about a pump and dump, she obviously knows nothing about the stock market. A pump and dump is an illegal activity. Do you really think that Donald Trump, with all the scrutiny on him, is going to do a pump and dump with the DJT stock? You're insane. You're absolutely batshit crazy. And anyone who watches your show and nods along, then they're batshit crazy as well. What does this actually say about all these people who are pissed off with Donald Trump's success? Like I told you yesterday, this entire charade had nothing to do with the size of the fine as much as it had to do with bankrupting Donald Trump. That's why they're pissed off. They are ticked off, crazy ticked off, because of the fact that now this guy could be potentially liquid to a huge number where your fines don't matter anymore. That's why they're pissed off. Trump's media stock right now, DJT, has a market cap value of somewhere around $15 billion, and it's going to fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. That means his 58% share could be as high as $8 billion by the time you're watching this video.
You had the media actively rooting for him to declare bankruptcy. He was never going to do that, but the media wanted that to happen. Now, I rarely do this, but I'm going to allow the media to speak for me for my point. I'm just going to quote Bloomberg directly. So on that day, Trump's supposed to be bankrupt, they say, lies. Trump's net worth hit $6.5 billion, making him one of the world's 500 richest people. That is a Bloomberg headline. Donald Trump's business empire was supposed to be in peril like never before Monday. Instead, it turned into the single greatest day on record for the former presidents. How's that for irony? Thanks for Bloomberg for the lines for me.
So much for Letitia James and the corrupt Biden administration trying to bankrupt a fine American. This man is not Don Corleone. This man is unstoppable. Your only shot is to cheat or try to take him out through some other legal means. And hopefully that won't happen. Let me know what you think about Donald Trump basically putting these people in checkmate and raising almost $6 billion in one day. Talk to you soon.